Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective, where you get a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. Happy Thursday. It is Thursday. Oh, and I talked about how today I am going to kind of talk about the journey and how it's sort of going. How it's sort of going. Um, I have some notes, and I'm going to read through my notes really quick to you, and then I'm just going to talk, all right? Because I'm not even sure that everything that's been going on in this part of the journey has been, I don't want to say normal, because I don't even know what normal would be in this situation, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not really sure that anything in this part of the journey can really be put into notes, because craziness. So, I do have the Affirmators mantra card for today. Morning mantras for after I talk. And I'm going to try not to make this so long. I know sometimes I just, I can talk for days. But I do kind of want to get the gist of what my brain's been going through. So again, please bear with me. Like I said, I'm still kind of in this place where after the last couple of days, my brain is sometimes like a puzzle, right? And sometimes the pieces fall out and they might bounce and they might land under the couch and you're like, where'd it go? And so I'm still a little discombobulated mentally, but I'm okay. I'm okay. It's just one of the reasons I wanted to share this, not for pity, not for attention, all right? I always like to put that disclaimer out there because there's a lot of people out there that don't understand mental health and will sit there and go, oh, she's just trying to get attention, or he's just trying to get, they're just trying to, and it's like, no. Like I said, there's a quote from Simone Biles from a while ago that I had on my show about a week or so ago, and I absolutely loved it because it really kind of hits home on why I share, I share the things I share. Sometimes I interject personal things, or sometimes I'm just straight out talking like I am now. And her quote was, it's important because you have to teach them to use their voices. And if not, you're a voice for the voiceless. So, someone taught me how to use my voice. My parents kind of taught me that when I was a kid, and I did for certain things, but then, when it came to my own personal stuff, I could not. My friend Jody, she really, she was very open about her own story, and it helped me really kind of look at my own and realize, boy, I have a lot more healing I need to do. And because of that, I really attribute a good part of finding my voice to her, because she showed me how to use my voice. She showed me, even if it's just for myself, right? But when I started this show, one of the reasons I started this show was because I was in a bad headspace, and I thought, you know what, I need to do something. I need to open myself up just enough to hopefully help somebody else the way somebody helped me. So I wanted to give that little disclaimer because this show is going to be all about me and this crazy week, and or literally the last week, starting from about today, it's been going. So deep breaths, right? Deep breaths. Or tomorrow, I should say, is when the crazy week really kind of started. So last week, Thursday, would have been really my last day of normal thinking, before I went, wow, I don't know, before I went overboard. So, let's see. I titled this My Truth, and the first note I wrote was, the last few days have been overwhelming with life stuff. Still trying to find the balance after therapy. Brain is like puzzle pieces falling to the floor. I am almost paralyzed sometimes when I am overwhelmed. I shut down and I am struggling to be brave enough to... Wait, what? And I'm sorry, I can't read my own writing. I shut down and I am struggling to be brave enough I'm struggling, I don't know what I meant there, and face the situation head on. Oh, I see. Brave enough not to struggle and face the situation head on. I know that you've seen my notes in the past. Usually my notes make a lot more sense. But yesterday was Self-Care Wednesday, and the very first card that came out of the deck, and whoever was watching yesterday knows that, boy, that was a struggle, because this card, I mean, look at the size of this card. It's like the size of my hand, and I have pretty big hands. I have pretty long fingers, but it was the first card out of the deck, and boy, it hit right between the eyes. And I'd say right between the eyes. But depression lies. Depression lies. I wanted to save this for today because it says there is no circumstance that is unchangeable. There is no situation that is ever hopeless. Depression, okay, so no, here's the thing. No matter what spoke of the umbrella, of the mental health umbrella you fall under, it can be a struggle. It can be a struggle, whether it's, you're going through some super stuff. I've always said that I feel lucky with my diagnosis because I feel like I got off easy considering some of the things that other people go through. Major depressive disorder isn't, just a fly-by-night thing. It is real. It is hard to deal with. It was very, very hard for me to accept in the long run, but I have that acceptance now that this is who I am. It doesn't make me any different than anybody else, except some days I struggle a little bit harder. When it comes to trauma, everybody's trauma, even the things that might feel like it's under the same umbrella, a different umbrella, obviously, everybody's situation is different. Everybody's story can vary from, situation to situation. And a lot of times that can cause, what I call situational depression, which is funny because I heard somebody else call it that. And I was like, holy crap, I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know what else to call it, to be honest with you. And, but it's good to know that that is something that is a term. So, and it could be just basically the blues, right? It could be the blues. So when we talk about depression lies. And, again, with the little card that it said here, there's no circumstance that is unchangeable. There is no situation that is ever hopeless. Sometimes it can feel unchangeable and sometimes it can feel hopeless. Starting last Friday, the whole world just seemed to fall apart in my life and, and in this household. And it was just almost, like I said, when my brain puzzle pieces start falling to the floor, it's almost paralyzing and you don't know what to do. And, you just kind of quietly move inward. And that's how I used to survive. I used to survive by controlling everything around me and trying to, figure out how to keep my little, like almost like nesting, right? We nest and we put everything around us that we need and, within reach and this, that, and the other. And, the nesting part, it's not always a good thing. It's not always a good thing. So when it comes down to it, when I go within me personally, now, again, this is my own perspective. This is my own experience. But I'm sharing it because I am pretty certain out there are other people who might have this very same particular struggle. And I will say this. When you get to that overwhelming paralyzation, right? Is that even a word, paralyzation? When the overwhelm just completely paralyzes you, nothing feels like it's going to change and everything does feel hopeless. So again, you nest. And I'm really sorry, guys. My brain is just, I don't know what's happening. It's never really this bad. So, this is something new for me as well. And it's live right now. And so now you get the idea of what is happening. But, so please bear with me. But again, when it becomes a little paralyzing, it does feel like nothing can change. And I remember so basically one of the things that happened is our cable went out. Okay, our cable went out and we didn't get it fixed until Monday. And so there was like 3 days of just either you're on your phone or you're reading. I read a 400-page book in a day and a half. But I remembered something in that moment. And what I remembered was that, I remembered how much I love reading. I remember how much I could get through a book when I really, really enjoyed something, just couldn't put it down. And then I realized that, for a lot of people, you might be saying, well, you should unplug, you shouldn't watch so much TV, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. Part of it is, it's kind of siblings medicine in a way. And I'm not saying I don't fall into the TV rabbit hole, because I do. I probably sit and my eyes probably square by now. But I do kind of venture away from it a little bit. But also, some people at night need that TV to fall asleep to. And that's older sibling. And so I was worried about her. Plus, she was super hurting. She had a lot of appointments last week, so she was in really a lot of pain. It's just, everything became very overwhelming. Very overwhelming. Everything from top to bottom. It was very overwhelming. And that was just kind of the cherry on top of this horrible, spoiled, rotten treat. And at some point, neither one of us was really... I think we were both kind of paralyzed in what to do, right? It's kind of like, well, I don't know what to do. What do we do? And there was a lot of other outside circumstances and everything that was just kind of piling on. That was just kind of the one thing that I'm willing to talk about all this right now. And in that time, though, in that downtime, I realized everything happens for a reason. Everything does happen for a reason. And in that reasoning, whatever it is, it's up to us to figure out what it is. It's kind of like, something is happening because it needs you to understand. It needs you to kind of pick up and say, hey, what's going on here? What do I need to do to make this situation better? What can I do to show that circumstances are not unchangeable or hopeless, but we just have to figure out how to move from one end to the other? And in that time, even though we have our cable back and everything, but in that time, I've still been working on this. And I didn't do my show last week, and I didn't do it again until yesterday. So Monday and Tuesday, I was just, because I was still a little discombobulated, and I decided Tuesday was going to be the day that I just, have my self-care. I'm going to give myself some self-care. Everything's back running up and running, and, doing better. But I realized there was still a lot of healing in there. There was still a lot of healing that needed to be done. And I was like, crap, I thought I'd been through all this, right? I am at the end of this healing, but that's where I made the mistake. It wasn't healing that needed to be done. I did the healing. What happened is I wasn't trusting the process. And, you can look at that in any way that you want. I know a lot of people find the term trusting the process offensive. I did it first. I did it first too. When I was on the healing journey, it's like, I don't want to fucking trust the process. It's like, it's so hard, and the thing is people will be like, how hard is it to trust the process? When you have a dinged up mental health, and even if you do not have a dinged up mental health, when you are in a state of overwhelm, everything seems impossible. Everything, even a term as simple as trust the process, makes you want to punch something, because you're like, really? I tried trusting the process, but did we really? No. And I learned that. See, in that time that we were completely off the grid, sometimes cable goes out, right? And we had to have stuff rewired and everything. So, life happens. All right. Life happens. But in that time, like I said, it felt like just everything was happening at me and to me, and in spite of everything else, and in spite trying to, live a good life and be a good person and do all this. And I'm like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? And then I'm going to put a disclaimer in here. Okay. I'm very open about my spirituality. I'm very open to the fact that, I do have a large spiritual table. Okay, you can figure that however you want. A lot of people disagree with me, say it's wrong. I don't care. It is my choice, my life, my spirituality. But at the head of my table is still God. Okay, because I grew up with that. That's the deity I grew up with. I grew up with God. I was raised a Catholic by my mom, but I was also raised to think outside of the box because my father, depending on the day, is an agnostic or an atheist. So I'm going to talk about God in this part, okay, and my spiritual board of directors. So it's the God bod. That's what I call them, the God bod, the spirit God bod. So board of directors, that's the bod part. But I know, leave it to me to turn it into something completely ridiculous. But I'm just going to put that in there. So, whoever you focus your faith on, or whoever you turn your faith to, even if it's nothing, if you're an atheist and whatever, please just try to bear with me in this part. But I do pray at night, but I kind of, it's almost like I'm phoning it in sometimes, right, when I'm praying. And so I know sibling prays, and sibling's really good. I think my mom from up above is teaching her how to use the red phone, because my mom, I'm telling you, had a line right to God. But I was texting my cousin, and I just told her, I said, like, I'm really overwhelmed. I feel so paralyzed, like I can't move. And I said, I'm so sick and tired of this happening. I feel like God's not listening. I feel like the universe is not listening. I feel like, and she said one simple thing. She sent me back a paragraph, but there was one little phrase in there that really kind of lit a spark in my brain and really kind of helped me start to put things back together. And she says, I understand why you could feel that way, when I was talking about how I feel like I've been abandoned by my spiritual God bod. And she says, but you have to remember it's happening for you, not to you. And I thought, you know what? And at first it's like, with anybody else, if anybody other than my dad, baby sibling, or older sibling would have said that to me, I probably would have been like, really? You have no idea. But these are people that are very, very, I love everybody in my circle. I love my family on the whole. But these are people I communicate with every day. These are people I talk to every day, even if just on text. And baby sibling and older sibling probably know who I am now the best. They've been on this spiritual journey with me. They've helped me through this healing journey of mine. And, they've been they've had the front seat, of this play that is my life. And this healing journey that had been my life for so long that when it was time to let it go, it was hard. And I think that's where a lot of this was happening when baby sibling said it's happening for you, not to you. Because in that time, I had to think about a lot of things. Sure, I like I said, I read a 400-page book, and it's like that, right? Like nothing. Like I couldn't put it down. It was so good. And I remembered, God, I really love to read. I really do love to read. And, and of course, once the cable was fixed and everything was rewired and we were able to get back on the grid, I haven't picked up a book since. I know. So I have that little app I was talking about, the self-care app. I have on there to read a chapter a day. And I get points if I read a chapter a day. So I know I need to get back to that because it is something I do. I know how to tune things out. So I can sit downstairs, enjoy siblings' company, and still read a book. But the thing is I think my brain shuts down because this is so new to me. This is a scary adventure because I don't know the outcome. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen next. When I was working, when I was able to find work, finding work is hard. Okay, I don't know why, but it is. But when I was working, I really kind of, I was phoning it into life. I wasn't doing anything I really loved. I loved hanging out with my friends. I loved going out. Love having the freedom to just go wherever you want, go for drives, do whatever. And when that was removed, if I had heard that phrase several years ago, I might be in a different place. But the thing is I may not have experienced everything I needed to experience to get to this point. So hearing the phrase, it is happening for you, not to you, maybe that was the whole point of my job. I was phoning it in on life, right? Just kind of like, yeah, all right, checking in. But I wasn't living life. I was existing in my life, thinking I was living it, but I wasn't doing all the things I love to do. I disagree with that too a little bit. I guess I was. There was a lot of things I did do. and I had the opportunity to do. But over time, especially after I lost my job and then COVID happened and we're all kind of stuck indoors, and I realized, there were so many things that became so overwhelming, because when you have that time and you have that downtime and you don't have something distracting you from it, you really start to see what you're made of. And I was really disappointed to find that I didn't feel like I was made of a whole lot. And, that's just my opinion. But it's a pretty harsh one because I'm talking about myself. And even just now, as I'm talking to you guys, and even in the last couple of days, I've realized that I tend to self-sabotage for some reason for no other reason than for some reason I'm afraid to be happy. And I don't know why. Every single one of us deserves to be happy. Every single one of us deserves to have that life that we want. And people are going to sit there and go, nope, it's not possible. Only special people get to have that. But I'm not saying, go out there and own your own jet. I mean, yeah, that's an elite group of people. I don't need to own my own jet. First of all, owning your own boat and owning your own jet, that's maintenance. That's maintenance. One thing I remember about Sissy Joe that always kind of made me giggle is she had the means to be able to buy herself a condo, an apartment, buy herself a house or whatever, right? And you know what she always says? Why do I want to do that? I don't want to have to be responsible for fixing everything. And it's like, wow, I mean, like sibling has this dream of owning a pair of Sea-Doos, right? And I said, hey, yeah, let's go to, once I learn how to ride one of those, let's go to Lake Havasu and rent some of them. She's all, why do you want to rent them? And I'm all, why not? And she's all, well, just, bring ours. And it's like, no, because first of all, you have to put it on a trailer. You have to get it on the trailer. Then you have to drive it out there on a trailer. Then you got to put it in the water with the trailer. Then you got to park the car somewhere. It's like, screw that. Then you have to wash it off at the end of the day. You have to clean it and all that stuff. And it's like, no, you just rent it and they do the rest. I mean, I know it doesn't always make that much sense, but there are some things in my life that I just think other people who might enjoy it is not something I would enjoy. So, I take care of the things I need to take care of. Okay. And all the fun stuff, all the things that are supposed to be fun, someone else can clean those off. But, so yeah, but what I'm saying, I know that was like squirreling, but what I'm basically saying is that, just living your best life isn't about what you have. It's how you're living it. It's what you have in here and in here. I'm trying not to tap the mic. And in your heart, right here, your heart. I realized yesterday in a very dramatic way that I was self-sabotaging. I decided to go to one of my favorite fast food places yesterday, which, to be honest with you, after having it yesterday, I don't think is one of my favorite fast food places anymore. And it used to be for a long time. And I haven't had it in a while, and it's kind of like, But on top of that, I had one of my shakes from my new favorite hamburger joint. And I know, I never thought I'd like this place, but damn, I told Sibling, I said, I noticed that when I eat their burgers, I savor it. Whereas when I go to my place that I thought I used to love, it's kind of like I just inhale it. And I realized when I was thinking about that last night, yesterday. So again, sorry, discombobulated brain still healing itself. But yesterday, I tanked my shake, right? Because at this one place you can get a Neapolitan shake, but I thought, you know what? The last time I had that, the vanilla ruined it. Sorry. I know if you love vanilla, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be rude. But, so I just had strawberry and chocolate. So it was so good. But then all of a sudden I got up to walk to the kitchen to get some water, and my heart was pounding a mile a minute. Now, I do have an Apple Watch. So, I tested my heart rate, and it was like, and this was sitting still, like resting heart rate was so high. And I mean, I literally could see my skin just pounding, and I'm like, what the hell is happening? So normally, and I do not do this at home, okay, I'm not promoting this, but normally I don't listen to Dr. Google. I mean, I might look things up and see the symptoms, but I generally ask, I will call a doctor, or I'll call my doctor and see, what they think. But in this case, everything that I read made absolute sense. So I went upstairs, put on some of my favorite videos on YouTube and just laid down with my cat who came in after. But I laid down and I had to force myself to go to sleep just to kind of calm my heart rate down. And for the most part it did. And it was apparently, if you eat certain things too fast or whatever, it can actually cause major heart palpitations. I mean, there's a lot more to it than that, but that's beside the point. And so I was thinking about that last night after I got up from my nap, and then Sibling and I watched one of our favorite shows on Wednesday. And then I was washing my face, and then I went in there and I said, you know what? I think I just figured something out. And so I went into her room and I sat down and I told her, and she's like, well, what's going on? And this is how nice she is. She was ready to go to sleep, but she let me unload on her. And I said, I'm self-sabotaging again. I'm absolutely self-sabotaging again. I ate something I knew I probably shouldn't have, and it wasn't even that great. And then I kind of had like a wake-up call with the heart palpitations, because I already deal with a repaired heart. So and I mean, I'm doing great, but that really did scare me. It scared both of us. But turns out it was okay, because my resting heart rate is much better this morning. So it was 82 beats per minute yesterday. It was about 123 yesterday, and then at one point it got up to 134. So that was pretty scary. But I told her, I said, I'm self-sabotaging, because I am on a weight loss journey, all right, and for no other reason than I want to take care of my heart, and I'm so close to my next goal. And so what do? I go out and have fast food, which makes absolutely no sense. Just make a sensible meal at home, or make something at home, or go out and buy instead of buying a burger and fries or whatever, go out and get like a regular sandwich, or whatever. And I'm not going to tell people how to eat, because I am going to do a body positivity series eventually. But for me, it's like I've just been really working hard. I've been doing it the right way. I've been taking it slow, and I was right there. And I told older Sibling, I said, you know what? I'm sabotaging again. And even last night, I had a dream. And I woke up this morning, I'm like, what the hell was that dream all about? And all of a sudden it dawned on me, oh, right, I'm self-sabotaging again. I am bringing old baggage into a new situation. And I don't want to do that anymore. I don't. So yesterday I talked about, how I was going to talk about how this last week has been. It's been overwhelming. It's been paralyzing in some moments. But in the long run, remembering what baby Sibling said to me, it's happening for you, not to you, really kind of made me realize that, I already know depression lies, but where it says there is no circumstance that is unchangeable, I hear that now. There is no situation that is ever hopeless. I feel that now. And I realize that in order for me to be happy, I have to change my mindset. I'm always going to have these situations where depression lies to me, but I have to figure out how to lift myself above that. There are going to be days when I trip and fall, and I'm going to need a moment to, reconnect with myself. That's my life. Accepting my mental health for what it is has been the biggest challenge of my life, but it has also been the biggest, like being let out of prison. I don't know what that's like. Okay. I don't know what it's like to be let out of prison. I'm just thinking about a scene from the Shawshank Redemption, but think about it, right? I'm going to use that actually as an example. In the Shawshank Redemption, you had two situations. You had Brooks who left and who got paroled, and you had Red who got paroled. And in Brooks' case, it was too hard. Okay, now look, this movie's like 30 something years old, so spoiler alert. All right, spoiler alert. Brooks dies. He takes his own life because he couldn't handle it. Everything had changed so much. And it's like Red said, in jail or in prison, he was smart. He was an educated man. He was somebody looked up to. Outside of that, he was just another guy. And then Red gets out, right? Red gets paroled, and this is towards the end of the movie, and everything he does, he's like, he talks about how it's really hard to not ask to be able to go to the bathroom, or not ask to be able to do this, or to be, because you're on your own. And to me, that's kind of how I relate to mental health. There feels like there's this unchangeable situation, but what happened to Brooks was kind of not just the world became too overwhelming. It became supremely overwhelming for him, and it debilitated him to the point where he just saw no way out. Which is another reason why we shouldn't judge people who do choose that. It's a very personal choice, and it's a very scary choice. And I'm grateful that I am no longer in that mindset, and that I don't go in that direction anymore, because it can be scary, but super scary. But with Red, right? Red thought, you know what? I'm at a certain stage in my life, and one of my favorite phrases from that whole movie is get busy living or get busy dying. And we have to decide, do we want to get busy living, or do we want to get busy dying? And when I say get busy dying, it's like, are you just phoning your life in? Are you just phoning it in? Say, yeah, okay, I'm showing up today. There was another, a great, I think it was, I can't remember which cartoon it was before, animated feature. It was either before, I think it was before Inside Out or Moana. I don't remember which one. Might have been Moana. But they had this little man, right? This little old man. And they show him from when he's young to when he's older. Same job every day. Pencil pushing. And, he passes all this fun stuff. He passes this. He passes that. And inside, they kind of show a diagram of his heart and his brain. And his heart and his brain are very separated, because he's just phoning it in. And then one day, the heart and the brain meet. And the next thing you know, he's living life. He's not just phoning it in. I know I'm saying phoning it in a lot, but I really want people to pay attention to that. Are you living your life? Are you looking at Instagram and saying, well, that's living my best life? No, that's not living your best life. That's somebody posting the best parts of their life. Social media is that. So when people are posting about their own stuff, they're posting about the good stuff that's happened. No, this is why I have to come on here sometimes and go, hey, where I post my mental health stuff. It's like, when I post my mental health stuff, I'm not always in a bad place. Lately, I've been in a very good place, but it's so important for me to make people understand that we have to destigmatize mental health. When people get the help they need, when people get the support and care that they need, we can get better. We can make those unchangeable circumstances changeable. We can make those hopeless feelings feel hopeful again. But we have to listen. We can't just dismiss people and say, oh yeah, you're just trying to get attention. If they are, fine. But maybe that's the only way they know how. Maybe acting out is the only way they understand how, I don't know that aspect of it. I have acted out in the past, but that wasn't to get attention. That was because I had a lot of crap just boiling up inside of me, creating Mount Vesuvius, for a moment. But it left a lot of destruction in its wake. It did. And the apology tour sometimes feels like it never ends. Even though that was years ago that I kind of moved away from that. And, it still happens from time to time. From time to time, I still get triggered. But I handle things a little better. In fact, this weekend I did kind of get a little tense at times, but for the most part, I tried to do my best to reel it in, circle back, and go, look, you know what? Is this going to help the situation? Absolutely not. I didn't journal as much as I thought I would, but I think it's because I was in the eye of that storm. And, maybe the cable going out and needing to be rewired, maybe that is what I needed to see, what I needed to do to move out of this storm. The eye of the storm is the calmest part, surprisingly, right? But everything else is happening around you. You are not getting out of that storm without getting hit by it somehow. And so we have to decide, what are we going to do? How am I going to push through the rest of this as it moves past me? And we can either sit down and be paralyzed by it like I was, or when we're sitting in that moment of overwhelm and being paralyzed, we can say, hey, what do I need to do to change this and feel hopeful again? It's not easy. It's hard. And this, and for some people it might be easy, but for me it's not. It's been hard because I keep getting in my own damn way. I keep not trusting the process. On Sunday, I asked older sibling, I said, look, will you pray with me? Okay, will you pray with me? And, I did a real prayer. It felt like something like, almost like channeling my mother. So, but it was something that I really, really needed. And I forgot how much I needed that. I am not a person who is really into religion. I grew up in religion. I got everything I needed out of it, but I am still doing my best to be a very spiritual type of person. And I have nothing against religion. I know a lot of people, turn to that, and that's great. Whatever helps you get through the day. But for me, I have a different relationship with God. I have a different relationship with my spiritual board of directors, and there's a lot of them at that table. There's a lot of them at that table. And it used to bother me when people judged me for that. I don't care now. I don't tell you how to worship. Don't tell me how to worship. I come from a good place. But the thing is I have this whole spiritual, committee, right? This board, the God bod, the spiritual God bod that I called it. And I never turn to him. I always try to do everything myself. Because I know that when I turn my focus to what I believe in, to what I choose to believe in, the things are probably going to get better. Because not only am I trusting them with my situation, I'm putting my trust in it. And when we put our trust into anything, whatever it is, and like I said, even if you're an atheist, you put your trust into something. You turn your focus to something, even if it's to just go within and meditate it out, right? Or if you do meditate, or just going, doing your hobbies. Maybe you're in a band. Maybe you like to fish. Maybe you like sports. Maybe you love to swim. I mean, swimming can be so meditative. Maybe you like to go for walks or go hiking. Your higher power could be that hiking trail for that day, saying, hey, you know what? I can do this. And when we believe in ourselves again, when we trust ourselves, what comes from that is this, this interesting power that I'm still trying to understand. I realize now that all of my situational stuff that's been happening is because I keep self-sabotaging myself in one way. Yesterday, I just did it in the most obvious way because, why? I asked for help. I asked for guidance. And the only way they could show me was by making me eat something that I probably really didn't want. And I really actually didn't want it, to be honest with you. It just felt like the thing to do. It felt like, after this tough week, it's like, oh, I deserve this. No, but that's not what I really wanted. And I had it anyways. And then I had that weird episode. And it's kind of like, oh, I didn't like this. And, the funny thing is it's kind of like, yeah, I don't think I'll be going back there for a while. Ever. Well, I can't say ever, but I don't think I'm going back there for a while. And it woke me up. And it made me realize that my old nemesis, self-sabotage, was still hiding in the shadows. And I was letting it. And all this time that I thought that I had overcome that self-sabotage, I hadn't. And the last time I had to deal with self-sabotage, I was more angry than anything. Today it's just like, okay, I accept this. And for anybody who might be saying, well, don't just accept it, fight it. No, that's the point. For me, in the way I handle things, accepting it is how I fight it. Because I realize it's something that I have to work through. I realize it's something that I have to acknowledge. And by acknowledging it, by giving it kind of a face or a name, I am showing myself, hey, you know what? We have this acceptance now. And what do? And I never accepted the self-sabotage before. I was too embarrassed by it. It seems like something so small, right? But I realized going back on everything that's happened over the last couple of years, it's like every time things started to get better, I found a way to kill it. I found a way to self-sabotage it. And every time my mental health was going in the right direction, I found a way to self-sabotage it. And I think for me, when I talked about still trying to find the balance after therapy, I think that's self-sabotage. My therapist knows I was ready. I knew I was ready. But the minute I was out of therapy, and it's like, oh my God, what do I do? It was like being in a vacuum, like just, and going backwards, getting sucked up to whatever crap was in my head. And I realized I wasn't giving myself a chance. Healing is strange. Okay. Well, healing isn't strange. Healing is pretty straightforward. The adventure after the healing is strange. It's weird. It's different because it's not something I'm used to. I'm not used to not having control. And, in reality, we never have control. Okay. I mean, there's something always out there that's going to be out of our control. But in my head, I had everything under control. Even if I didn't, and I know I didn't. The world is falling apart around me, but I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in control. No. But it's scary for me. But when I start to see how life starts to unfold, and I start to see the way, everything starts to work itself out and for the better, I start realizing that once we trust that process and realize it's happening for us, not to us, it can really change your mindset. And I really think that's where that card comes in. Nothing is ever unchangeable. Nothing is ever hopeless. And, or again, there is no circumstance that is unchangeable. There is no situation that is ever hopeless. And my guess was that they use the bat because, again, like I talked about yesterday, bats basically go off sonar, their own personal sonar. They go off of their hearing because they don't see very well, period. And again, like I said yesterday, the whole phrase, blind as a bat, right? But they survive and they thrive as a community. And they hear. They didn't get this one sense. They have a very weak visual sense. So they, tuned into their hearing senses. They used the other senses and they honed it, and they created something out of, what we would consider, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening to me. They said, okay, how do I move through this? Not just to survive, but to thrive. And they figured it out. I mean, obviously over, I can't even think of the word, again, my brain, guys. But over the course of time, okay, in the progression of this particular animal, they figured it out. And that's what we have to do. We can waste time phoning it in, or we can spend time figuring out why we're phoning it in and get to that place where we are living our best life. And again, don't compare your life to somebody else's life. Your best life could be, maybe you're just going to work, right? Instead of phoning it in, you show up. It's like, hey, how's it going, everybody? Or, you give yourself reasons to be excited to be there, or you find your people in this group, or whatever it is. Maybe you decided, hey, you know what? Maybe you just kind of wander to work, right? You're in your car, you're sitting in traffic, you're like, or you're sitting on public transportation going, again, you're just kind of phoning it in. Then all of a sudden, what? I discovered books. I discovered Audible books. I discovered funny videos. I discovered this. I discovered something that makes me laugh. Instead of just, being like, oh God, I can't believe I have to go there today. Be excited about life. You woke up this morning. You got out of bed. There's a lot of people who will not be doing that today. And there's a lot of people who are going to be struggling so much they can't get out of bed. It's too much. And I don't want to be in that place anymore because I've been there. I've been that person that struggled to really get out of bed and have to push myself. And a lot of times I think that's why I phoned it in, because it was scary and it was difficult. And it was just, you get to this jumping off place where you're just like, I don't care anymore. If we want, living our best lives is caring about our best life. And that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. All the other stuff, that's bonuses. Those are bonuses. Those are frivolous bonuses. Well, I don't want to say frivolous because you know what? I can get pretty frivolous. But, yeah, I think when we use the word frivolous, it might be a form of jealousy, right? It's like, oh, well, they're being frivolous. It's like, no, they're enjoying their life. Let them be them. If they're going to make mistakes, they're going to make mistakes, but that's not your job. Okay. And I've made a lot of mistakes through my life. I have made plenty, more than I care to count, mistakes and bad choices and all that. But this is why I'm sharing. This is why I'm sharing this journey, because I know I've rambled a lot, and I do apologize for that, but it's like I said, you are seeing how a discombobulated brain is trying to put itself back together. How my mental health is just kind of finally relaxing, right? And just saying, okay, we're relaxing now, we're doing our thing, and we're gonna get back to this place where we know that we can change the circumstance and we can be hopeful about it. Depression's always going to lie. It's always going to tell us things that we think we want to hear, or we think we're supposed to hear, when it's all a lie. Self-sabotage is the worst thing I've ever done to myself. And again, like I said, I thought I had moved past it, and I was wrong. I was wrong, and I think it was my own hubris that made me think I moved past. Like, yeah, well, I did all my healing. There's no way I'm self-sabotaging anymore. Oh, yeah, watch. My brain says, watch us. Watch us. And it did. And it blindsided me, and it slapped me right upside the head. But in this case, it was a good thing. Because, again, one last time, I was reminded it's happening for you, not to you. In that time, off the grid, I had the opportunity to look within. Even while reading my book, I had the opportunity to look within, because surprisingly, this book the book is like 30 years old. Okay, 40 years old, actually, maybe around 40, almost 40 years old. But, and it's had a movie made out of it and all this other stuff. But there were a lot of and I've had this book for about 6 or 7 months, and it's just been sitting next to my chair. And when I finally decided to pick it up, I went back to the beginning and started from the beginning, because I was like about maybe barely in. I was about 1/10 of the way in. But there was a lot in there that really kind of hit home for me. And it was kind of like, wow. I see this person. This person, it literally is just existing in their own life. They're afraid of everything. They're afraid of everything. And then when they choose to not be afraid of everything, they go like they do a 180, and it's like they're this whole other person that's just kind of like, and it was about finding the balance. And when they finally found that balance for themselves, it was kind of like, okay, I get it now. And it's like, whoa, thank you, story, because you just helped me. So I know I said I wasn't going to make this long, but I should never say that, because that's silly. It takes as long as it takes, and I still have more I want to say, but I won't bore you with it, because I'm just going to end up going in circles again. So here's the affirmators card for today. I can't change which way. Seriously, this card literally popped out of the thing this morning. This is the first time I'm seeing this, and it fits the situation perfectly. I can't change which way the river bends, so I might as well strap in and enjoy this strange little boat ride. Anyone bring a cooler? And it's the cute little bugs riding on a leaf, right? Just with their drinks. I just realized they have drinks, right? They're both holding a red cup with a straw. And that's very accurate. It's very accurate. We don't know which way the river's going to bend. Okay, now I got the Pocahontas song in my head from Disney. But we don't know which way the river's going to bend. So sometimes we just have to, what is we have to do? Go with the flow. Glowing. Yeah, there you go. Maybe, I don't even know that was a mistake. Glowing with the flow. Glow with the flow. Glow with the flow. You can go with the flow. You can grow with the flow. You can glow with the flow. But just go with it. Just move in that current. And if it's not a particular river bend you want to be on, pivot. There's waterways that go everywhere. Pivot. So that, you find your joy, you find your happiness. So yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything right. It's just like, okay, bye. So click off, bye. But anyways, I hope everybody has a wonderful day. As I mentioned yesterday, Fridays, I'm going to be taking off Fridays for a while. So, I don't know why. It just feels like the right thing to do. There's no other reason than I just don't want to do Fridays right now. But I feel like there's a bigger reason for that, and maybe it's just I need to come up with something better than just Aloha Oracle or Aloha Guidance or putting the Aloha back in the Aloha Perspective. All of it felt forced, and when it feels forced, it's not going to mean anything. So Monday through Friday, or Monday through Thursday, excuse me, I'll still be here doing the topics and whatnot, or talking on something, but or sharing. Sometimes it's the same thing, but you know what? You watch a talk show and you see the same thing over and over again, right? So these are messages that I hope reaches people, that need to hear them, because I do want to be a voice for the voiceless. And I want to show the voiceless how to find their own voice. You don't always have to come out and share your story with the world, or the people out there, or do it live like I do. But and as you see from what I talked about today, there were some things that I just will not talk about. And it feels like after a lot of the things I've said, kind of like, Shelly Marie, now you're guarded? No. You know what? I talk about things at certain times that I think somebody out there may need to hear. And I kind of go with my own spidey instincts and my own intuition. And, sometimes I will pray on it. Or I'll ask the spiritual God bod. I don't know. I can't get over the way I call it that. The spiritual board of directors. But yeah, just do yourself a favor today and going into the weekend. Be kind to yourself. Okay? Don't shame yourself. Try not to just phone it in. Try to live, notice everything about your day. Make notes on it if you want. Grab a tiny journal. I mean, I have all shapes and sizes of journals, and, just do yourself that favor and really kind of look at your life around you. Lift your head up from your phone and look around at the trees and the sky and everything. If it's raining where you're at, and you don't have to be anywhere and it's safe, step out from under the umbrella. Just let life hit you a little bit. Let nature hit you a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. And it can be a very beautiful experience, So, again, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Have a great, great weekend and a safe weekend. And I will see you back here Monday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Time, Facebook Live. All lives are public. Anybody can watch under Shelly Marie Lucas. I also upload these to TikTok and YouTube and Twitter. So, again, have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on Monday.